Oh! Greetings, Wanderer. This is Atlas here, and welcome to the Void. Today I'm going to be breaking down a song called The First Disciple from the Destiny 2 The Witch Queen original soundtrack. This is one of the coffee personal requests that I had scheduled for this month, and this one comes from Friendly Elites. So thank you very much for your request, okay? And of course, your incredible support. So I'm really looking forward to it. Onward. Right, The First Disciple from the Destiny 2 The Witch Queen original soundtrack. Boom. Starting with pretty massive brass section. It's pretty cool. So far, the brass is the spearhead. The string section is just doing the counter melody. And now we actually have drums. Brass sounds really mean. Listen how the snare cuts through the mix. It's insane. That's explosive. Tons of accents in this part. And that groove on the drums is just keeping it tight. It's going in a different direction now. A little bit of variation in the drum pattern. Even though the song has a pretty mean brass section, it has a lot of space. Very spacious. I like that now it has even less layers. That was cool. I'm digging the drums too much. You also have some synthetic bass with some saturation on it. Oh! That cymbal in there in that drum pattern at the end. Oh. Oh. What time signature is that? So much space. And when all the layers come together, it sounds more massive. It's crazy how the drums keep all together. And it's basically the same pattern all over again, over and over again. More synthesizer strobing. That's sweet right there. Listen to the string section. More energy, more energy. That was cool. The drums are so good. There's quite a synthetic resolution right there. And I think there we have it. Yeah, that was the song at the end. Okay. Yeah. Listen, this track has a really mean brass section, and the brass section is basically like the spearhead of this whole song. The string section is actually doing counter melodies and whatnot. It's just as a supporting role in this track. But it also has some synthetic elements which makes sense, apologies, because this is a science fiction game. But we're going to be talking more in depth about those things in the breakdown, so let's break it down. Okay, so I want to start this breakdown section by talking about general things about the song, but also some of the highlights of the track, the things that I found more interesting about the composition and whatnot, okay? So many of these things I already talked super brief during when I was listening to the song, but I'm going to reiterate on them and probably expand a little bit on that regard, of course. And after that, I'm probably going to get more into some specifics. I'm probably going to do some demonstrations with my guitar and whatnot. So let's talk about, first of all, probably the one of the main qualities that this song has, and it's that the brass section in this song not only is super massive, heavy, mean. Well, being mean is a natural quality of the brass section, I would say. But yes, of course, it has that role in this song too. But the thing is, the brass section in this song is actually the section that is the spotlight of the whole thing. It's very present. It's even more present than the string section. To me, the string section in this song actually takes a back seat, if you will, or let's. Not a backseat. Let's say it's like more of a supporting role, because backseat sounds like you're in a bench. You're sitting a bench and you're not participating at all or something. So yeah, the brass section is the spearhead of the song. Is what is carrying the song along with the drums, by the way, and it has the song in general. It's not like a wall of sound or sort of song, because it has a lot of space, and let's say the climax or the apex of the track in terms of the energy and the tension is super spread out throughout the song. The song also is lengthy, it's like 10 minutes long, so you have also plenty of room, let's say, to spread out all the elements that you need in the song to make it exciting, like the dynamics of the energy, the climax of the song, the points that there's less energy, the parts where the tension builds and gets to its maximum threshold and then decays and whatnot, right? All those things. So certainly the length of the song contributes to that. Another thing that I would like to mention, of course, very important, and it's probably my favorite part of the whole track, is the drums, because the drums, I mean, having an actual drum kit instead of more of a traditional orchestral percussion like the timpani and whatnot, gives the song more of a modern edge to it. It has more of a modern edge to it, adds a modern edge to it, but also it's also fitting to the song because or the thematic of the video game in this case, because Destiny 2 is a science fiction game. So having the drums, an actual drum kit in it, brings it forward in time. You know, it's not so much of a traditional orchestral composition that, you know, is stripped from everything else that is modern, like a drum kit or the synthesizers that we hear in the song also and whatnot. And we also hear some choirs here and there, some arrangements that are as well working as a supporting role, just to add more layers to certain parts to bring the premise of the wall of sound that the song has here and there to fruition or further in terms of the intensity of it and whatnot. Now the other thing is that, like I mentioned before, the song has a lot of space and it's not afraid of stripping layers to decrease the energy and the tension. You know, I think it ultimately does those kind of things to enhance the build-ups and ultimately too for the contrast in between the high energy and low energy sections, the high tension and low tension sections. It's not afraid to go into that territory because at the same time, it's not like a super, it's not like an insane risk because there's plenty of space to do that. You know, the song, like I said before, is really long. However, the song does take some risk in terms of time signatures, because I believe that towards a little bit further into the midway of the song, we start hearing like the song goes like an extra mile in terms of the arrangements, and that's because I think it's doing some different time signatures. I think it's doing like 5/4 at that particular point. I will have to listen to the song again, but what to be sure that that's the measure, it's the signature it's using. But if that's not the case, the point is that it's actually there's a variation in the time signature, and that actually gives the song a little bit more of a spice towards the risky, territory. It takes a risk, but it pays off, in my opinion. I think ultimately too, the song is all about creating points of weight. The song has a lot of accents, a lot of points, in the measure or the bar, where it's just an accent with all the layers or most of the layers of a song involved. That's where you get the feeling of the wall of sound. And then the song takes the liberty to have some space, and then it comes again with all the weight of it and whatnot. And I suppose the final thing that I would like to point out is that towards near the middle, or going towards the middle of the length of the song, we hear that the track actually takes a turn in the tone of it, like the storytelling of it, okay? Because it starts very, very dark and bleak, as you can hear in the intro right here. But then we hear this section of the song that actually takes more of a heroic tone to it, which is pretty cool because it's like the very contrast to the premise that the song gives you at the beginning of the very track. I meant to say that at the very beginning of the track. That's what I meant. To finalize my commentary, I just would like to mention that the song, even though it has a lot of space to do a lot of things, it goes towards the route of keeping, for the most part, a simple composition, you know, except for the time signatures change in there, which is not like the craziest time signature change that has ever been. You know, it takes a little bit of risk there, but it actually pays off. But in terms of the general composition overall, it's a very simple composition. It's not taking any unnecessary risks. That's what I should say. And I really like that the song is actually led by the brass. The brass section is what's, is spearheading the track. Also, the drums are fantastic throughout the track, even though the pattern has little variations here and there, and for the most part is the same pattern, but the pattern, having the same pattern over and over again, gives the song so much tightness. And because there's also an element of production in here, which the drum sounds really, really good. I mean, you can hear that the snare, the mix in the snare is absolutely fantastic. Like it sounds really good, and it cuts through all the layers of instruments that there are present, including when the song becomes more of a or has more of a wall of sound kind of thing going on. So yeah, I would say that probably my favorite part of the whole thing was the drums. I was vibing a lot to them. So I think I'm gonna give this track, I'm gonna put it in C tier. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Patreon, my Ko-fi profile, and my Ko-fi store in case you want to support my work further, and my Teespring merch shop. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.